Back here at TD Garden, Josue Pavone here alongside Jacob Toby, where the Celtics dropped their second loss of the week, 107-95 against the Utah Jazz in a game that Brad Stevens said that they just flat out got outplayed, Jacob. They looked like a team that just pretty much got outplayed throughout the entire game. You saw the struggle, especially in that second quarter, and that struggle carried on into the second half. I mean, you had Kyrie Irving go off in that third quarter, really put them up to a 12-point distance between them and the Utah Jazz. However, the Utah Jazz came roaring back with a well-balanced attack. How did the Celtics manage to give up so many points, and how did the Celtics not find that defensive rhythm that we've seen throughout the entire, pretty much essentially throughout the entire regular season up until this point?
It was a weird game tonight at TD Garden, I think. There was a lot of buzz because of Gordon Hayward. They're playing his former team in the Utah Jazz. And early on, we saw a couple injuries happen for the Jazz. Rudy Gobert goes down, not even playing 2 minutes into the game. He goes down with what Adrian Wojnarowski reports maybe an MCL sprain. Oof. So that will be a tough loss for them moving forward. And the Celtics still got out-rebounded without Gobert, and then they lost Derek Favors as well. He got cut on the eyebrow in the second quarter, I believe, or in the first, I think it was the second quarter, and it just all went downhill from there. In that second quarter, they got outscored by 12 points after being up 5 in the first quarter, and it didn't seem like a cohesive unit tonight. The bench played really poorly. Kyrie Irving did do well, Al Horford did do well, but that was about it. Marcus Smart, 33 points off the bench. Didn't give you much tonight. The only person I could say that did well off the bench tonight, Shane Larkin, 9 points. Yeah,
I mean, and he didn't even play it much. You know, he came in that fourth quarter, and he sort of put together somewhat of a performance that we saw in the last game. But yeah, to piggyback on your point about the rebounding, I mean, 55-31. Talk about being out rebounded.
Without Gobert averages a double-double.
Like,
he's 12 and 10 every night.
They look like the old Celtics that we saw,
Exactly.
and I'm talking about the old Celtics as if it was so long ago. Last year, a couple of years ago, a team that got out rebounded essentially almost every single night. Hasn't been the case this season, but it certainly was the case tonight.
Aaron Baines, I'll name drop, 2 rebounds. I mean, that's not going to do it at the starting center position.
No, it won't.
Against going in, knowing you're going in against Gobert, knowing you're going against Derek Favors as well, and that's just a tough night for him with those players out, still getting out rebounded. You had Ebke Udoh in there, who's been a journeyman throughout this league. He's not going to be that good. He had a solid game tonight, but a tough loss for the Celtics for sure in front of this home crowd who was expecting a lot more. Jazz are pretty good, though. I think we saw their depth really come into play tonight.
Right. Well, we obviously know this is a tough stretch for the Celtics in terms of the games. 12 games in 18 days, and that stretch started on Sunday. They've gotten off to a rotten start. I asked Brad Stevens about that, and he answered quite honestly. He said, look, every single team goes through this, so he's not trying to use that as an excuse. He's also not trying to use the fact that they haven't got a lot of time to practice as an excuse. Do you think that's a valid response by the coach, or do you think that he should give his team more credit in terms of not getting enough practice, and this tough stretch of games could rattle any team in the NBA?
I think the practice point is a good one. He said he can't wait to practice. I think the next practice is in January, I believe. So
in 2018.
He says, excuse me, he said he can't wait to practice in January. That's going to be an interesting time to work on some things, to pickpocket some things. And yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, NBA season is so long and so grueling, and you have all these back-to-backs, and for this team, it's going to take a while for it to come together towards the end, but a tough night here, and I think Brad Stevens does echo some important points in that practices do mean a lot in the NBA when you can get them here and there.
Well, that schedule doesn't get any easier. Less than 24 hours from this loss, they're going to have to go over to Memphis and face the Grizzlies. Now,
without Daniel Tice, by the way.
Without Daniel Tice, who did suffer an injury tonight. The Memphis Grizzlies are, of course, without Michael Conley, but they're always a tough matchup for the Celtics, and it's going to be another challenging contest for the Celtics as they head to Memphis Saturday night. That's going to do it for us here at TD Garden. For Josue Pavone here, that's me. He's Jacob Toby. This has been the Garden Report for CLNS Media.